What is up, my Squirtleites? It is I, your king, welcoming you to a brand new Let's Play. You know, a general rule of thumb on this channel when it comes to guessing what games I'm going to Let's Play is that I tend to cover games in chronological order when I can help it. If I'm going to cover a series, I'm going to start with the first game and work my way through the sequels. Generally, if I cover the sequel or the third or the fourth or the fifth game first, that means I have no intention of going to the predecessors because usually I just don't like them as much or I don't really find them worth covering for whatever reason. This might be the lone exception to that rule. Back in 2020, I did a Let's Play of Banjo-Tooie because Banjo-Tooie is a game that I owned growing up, I played a lot of growing up, and I have very fond memories of. Now, I still consider that to be one of the best Let's Plays I've ever done on this channel for multiple reasons. I feel like it just went incredibly well. It was incredibly clean, cleaner than I was expecting it to be, and I was worried going into that game that my rose-tinted glasses were going to fade, and it wouldn't actually be as good as I remembered, and I actually ended up gaining even more respect for that game, and it is still, I think, one of the best games that has ever been put out on the Nintendo 64, if not the best. Big fan of that game, even after playing through it again in my adult years, but Banjo-Kazooie, the predecessor, is a bit more complicated. I have a rocky history with this game because I never owned it. I was not the one who had this game. I had friends that had it. I had family that had it, but I never had it. I played it here and there, but it always felt weird to go back and play it. It just didn't really vibe with me, and I can quantify why. We'll talk about that as we go through the intro here. But it never gelled with me all that much, even though I know a lot of people consider this to be the best game in the series. And, I mean, that's more of a matter of opinion and what you're looking for in these sorts of games. I feel like anybody who started with this game and then moved to the sequel is going to have that opinion because you go into Banjo-Kazooie and then come out of it going, okay, this is a platformer series. Then you play Banjo-Tooie and you go, oh, wait, hold on a second. This isn't a platformer series as much as it is an adventure game. And that's just because both games have very different goals in what they're trying to accomplish. People that wanted a platformer saw Banjo-Tooie as bloated, as having way too much space, levels that were just spacious and huge, way too much backtracking, things of that nature, but that's because people who just want to play a collectathon platformer generally don't want those sorts of things in their game. People that do just want a standard adventure, however, might actually appreciate what Banjo-Tooie was doing, and that's more my speed. Those are the kinds of games that I actually like a lot, and I feel like I feel the same way with Donkey Kong 64, for instance, that generally people feel towards Banjo-Tooie. I think Banjo-Tooie is much better in its approach, much more smartly designed, and overall just a really good game. But the problem with Banjo-Tooie, when you talk about it in relation to this game, is the fact that Tooie is a sequel in every single sense of the word. It's not just... in fact, it doesn't even use the excuse of, oh man, it's a sequel, we gotta make sure that our characters lose all of their powers and abilities so that they can unlock them again. No, Tooie actually starts you where this game ends you. As in, all of the moves, all of the abilities, all of the unlocks, all of the knowledge that you have from the end of Kazooie going into Tooie. And given that I played that game first and owned that game, whenever I tried to go back to Banjo-Kazooie, it really felt half-baked, unfinished, weird, like... Are you kidding me? A platformer that doesn't have a ledge grab mechanic on it? Mario 64 has that. Why doesn't this game? That's just an example of one of the things that I thought about it. Or, you know, so many other moves that were, like, available from the start in Tooie just felt like, well, this is how it should be, right? I mean, I feel like this is just the most obvious stuff, but that's just the way that they decided to do things. They really wanted you to start with the bare minimum in Kazooie. So it was a very off-putting to me, and it's why I didn't vibe with it very much. Now, all that said, I have beaten this game before. One time. One time and one time only, and that was all the way back in 2014 when I was taking a stab at live streaming on Twitch, which is something that didn't really gel with me, but during that period, went through, I think it was 4 games. Super Mario Galaxy 2, Silent Hill 2, Skyrim, and this one. Now, obviously, I've done a Skyrim Let's Play. That's all taken care of. Galaxy 2 and Silent Hill 2 remain to be seen, but I've always wanted to get around to actually Let's Playing all of those games at some point, mainly because the VODs for all of those streams are still on the channel. In fact, Banjo-Kazooie's VODs are almost exactly 10 years old as of the date of when this video you're watching right now goes up. So yeah, it was a while ago, and I hate those VODs. I think they're terrible. They're also just really poor quality because back then Twitch would just massively compress videos and then chop them up into 15-minute parts if you wanted to export them to YouTube. And overall, it was just kind of a pain in the neck to do that process, and the videos just don't look good. So I've always wanted to get rid of those. So once this Let's Play is done, I'll actually be deleting all of those VODs off of the channel, or at least making them unlisted. Because, yeah, I'm not really fond of those videos all that much, and I want this to be the de facto Let's Play. So that's a little bit of a history lesson, and I felt like I didn't really need to go over the intro there. Everybody knows how this game starts up. It's one of the most famous platformers of all time. Freaking Tootie's a girl, Gruntilda's an ugly woman. She wants to use her magic to suck the beauty out of this little girl, which is a little weird because it feels like Tootie is like, what, 8 years old? That's a bit strange. I mean, I feel like it's almost more strange than even what Snow White was doing, so that's bizarre, but whatever. You get how this goes. There's not really a whole lot I have to explain. The other thing I want to make sure that I do here is actually skip the tutorial part because I really don't want to do that. Press A if you want me to teach you some basic moves, or press B if you think you're already good enough. And I think I am because the controls for the start, like I said, are incredibly simple. You have the bare minimum in terms of moves. I think you have 3 methods of attack. You have a jump and a double, well, not a double, it'll make sense. Here, so you can jump. You can jump and then press A in the air again to have Banjo do a slower descent with Kazooie's flapping. This is made much more obvious when you jump off of higher spots. So like I'm going to jump into the river here, and you'll see the slow descent when I do it. Instead of just dropping like a rock, you'll go a little bit slower, which is nice for more precise platforming. You can swim, dive by pressing B. A is how you kick Banjo's feet for slower but more precise swimming. B is for Kazooie's wing stroke to go a little bit faster, but it's less precise. I generally just use that because it's just better in every regard, and it's still like precise enough that you're not really going to have to worry about it too much. You also have a few methods of attack. While walking, you press B, and he'll do a roll, which is probably the best one. I never liked how in this game it stops, though. Like in Tooie, he comes out of the roll still walking full speed, but in this game, at the end of the roll, he just kind of stops, and I never liked that. It always bothered me. That's another minor gripe that I've always had with this game. But again, that's coming from somebody who played Tooie first. So I am going to be making those comparisons throughout this Let's Play because that's just my history with this game. It's very strange. You can also hold Z and press B to do a little attack with Kazooie. This is actually for destroying stronger enemies. It does more damage than your normal roll. And this attack right here is just worthless. Don't ever use it. It really sucks. I mean, there are times where you might need to, just if you're in like a really precarious spot and you need to only lunge forward a little bit, but it's an awful attack. And then if you hold Z and then press A, you can do a much higher jump, like so. Now, what's funny is we're going to need to use these abilities to grab everything here in Mumbo's Mountain. And what I love is when you walk up to Bottles and try to talk to him, well, let me see if I can read the dialogue here. I'm still not helping you. Go away. So he'll basically say, he'll say, you said that you don't need help, so you're not going to get help. And I think that's hilarious. But it's honestly for the best because he kind of locks you into like learning these abilities if you select yes to the tutorial, and I find it very annoying. He'll basically be like, no, you have to use these abilities in each and every location, otherwise you're not progressing through this tutorial. So that's mainly why I wanted to skip it. But we're going to be going after these empty honeycomb pieces first things first, because all of these are necessary for getting us some more life. Right now we have 5 honeycombs on our health meter, but if we can get 6 empty honeycomb pieces, we will then have 6 on our health meter. That was also the air meter there. That's what the blue honeycombs are for. We're just going to continue making our way around, and they kind of got empty honeycombs all over the place. Oh yeah, there's that move too. Probably should explain that. When you press A, jump in the air, and then press B, Kazooie can do a little bit of an airborne attack as well. But that's pretty much the extent of our moves. So we're just going to go around and continue to collect all these empty honeycomb pieces, and then we can get a move on and head to the actual hub world. Because, yes, this is not the hub world. In fact, pretty much after this episode, I don't think we're ever coming back to Spiral Mountain for the rest of the game. Now, Kazooie, Banjo-Kazooie has, I'm going to see if I can get this. This is an extra life. There we go. Because, yes, this game has lives, even though Tooie did not. This game, I believe, has 100 jiggies in it, as while Tooie had, I think, 90, if I'm not mistaken. But getting the 100 jiggies in this game is a lot less time-consuming than getting the 90 jiggies in Tooie. In fact, there's really only one level in this game that I would say is actually extremely complicated, and I think it's actually the last level of the game. Not a big fan of it, actually. I remember really hating that level back when I played through it, because when I did that live stream, I beat this entire game. It was 10 years ago, and that's all of my knowledge of the game. I have not played this thing since, so I'm not about to be like, hey, I'm some expert at Banjo-Kazooie. I'm not. I'm going to be fumbling my way through a lot of the levels in this game, so do bear that in mind. I'll do my best, but I'm no Banjo-Kazooie expert. It's just going to be me sort of playing through this again and hoping that I can do a pretty darn good job with what I do remember about it. And oops, let me take you out, and that is our last empty honeycomb piece, and that is enough for more health. And no, there is not that many empty honeycomb pieces in every level. They really only do that this first time. You're going to be getting like a new addition to your health bar like once every 3 worlds, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like that's a pretty accurate summation of the cadence at which you get those. So now we need to head up to the top of this area, the top of the spiral mountain, if you will. And yeah, because like I said before, just kind of going off of what I said in the intro, Kazooie it's a platformer. It's just straight up a platformer. It's got a little bit of an adventure style to it. It's closer to a Super Mario 64. You got these worlds, you get all the things in the worlds, you do the tasks, and you beat it. Tooie was much more of a grandiose, overarching, like all the worlds connected thing, and it's just a different beast compared to this game. And it's also probably like twice the length. Ready to tackle the witch now? We sure are. Show us the way, Bottle Boy. Cross the bridge to enter Gruntilda's lair. Look out for me inside. Good luck. Now, I'm not about to say that I dislike Kazooie, because I don't. I actually think this game is really, really good, and I've gained more appreciation for it over the years. But do I think it's better than the sequel? That's kind of the thing I want to touch upon repeatedly as we make it through this game, is what do I think is better? And in a lot of ways, I do want to say that I don't think that it's a fair comparison, because again, I feel like both games were doing different things. Tooie was trying to be an adventure game. It's trying to be so much more than just a platformer. Like, there's platforming in it, but usually the actual platforming is not that hard in that game. There's maybe a couple of jiggies you get by doing some really precise jumping. This game, there's a lot more of that, but there's a lot less long-term puzzles, backtracking between levels, really trying to like tax your brain on certain things and figure out how things are interconnected. That's more of a Tooie thing. So those are, and also, oh, the hub world too. I think Tooie has a way better hub world, by the way. I don't really like Gruntilda's lair all that much, because this room, what you're seeing right here, this is the primary aesthetic through most of this place. Really, the only places where that's an exception and doesn't happen is in the actual entrance areas to the worlds themselves. They're a bit more themed after the worlds you're about to go into. So I'm not huge on the hub world of this game, but also it's not that hard to get through. It's not like, it's pretty concise and quick. Not quite Peach's Castle quick, but it is quick nonetheless. Now, I could try to go this way, but I do believe I'm just going to slide right down the ramp here. So, there we go. Yep, can't go up there. Up at the top of that is what is called a note door. We'll explain those a little bit later. But instead, we're going to be heading into the first level, which is known as Mumbo's Mountain. So what we're going to do is head on up here and hop on this jigsaw piece. So, to enter the world shown on the picture, you must fill in the missing spaces with the jigsaw pieces. We've got the first jigsaw piece, Goggle Boy. Great. To fill in the missing spaces on a picture, press A. If you don't want to, press B. That's pretty much it. And I also want to use this moment, as you can see the seams in the puzzle here, I want to use this moment to touch upon how I'm actually playing this game. I'm playing it on Nintendo Switch Online, even though I'm cropping out the borders to still give this the 4x3 appearance it deserves. This is on Switch Online. I'm not doing this through an emulator. I'm not doing this on an actual Nintendo 64, although I wish I was. I still wanted to play the 64 version of this, though, because I would have done that with Banjo-Tooie had I had the option. It was just that the 360 version was the only way I sensibly could, in a way that made sense, because emulating Tooie can get a little bit weird and tricky, and it's not super consistent all the way through. And so, as much as I wanted to play the 64 version of that game, I only did the 360 version out of necessity. And this time around, I am going with the 64 version because I feel like it's just the superior way to play. Like, don't get me wrong, the 360 version looks better, and the seams are all cleaned up and whatnot, and it doesn't look as dated. Like, they HD-ified it, which is great and all, but I don't like the controls for that one very much, and I don't think that that is the intended Banjo experience all that much. It doesn't feel right to me very much, and plus I just like playing with a Nintendo 64 controller. For this game in particular and its sequel, I really like using this controller. All right, let's talk about some of the staples of each level. So first things first, I grabbed some notes. There are 100 notes in every single level. You have no reason to not collect all 100 notes every time you enter a level. If you ever leave a level without doing so, you have to collect them all again. So just get 100 every time you go in for the first time. Then you can go about your business from there on out. That blue guy, I collected that as a Jinjo. We saw those in Banjo-Tooie. They behave a little bit differently in this game. In Tooie, you had to collect all of the same color for a house. And then once you got all of those, they give you a Jiggy. In this game, it's just 5 Jinjos per level, and they're all different colors. So grab all of those little guys, and they will give you a Jiggy. All right, we're about to get like 3 Jiggies in quick succession here, so I'm going to show this. This guy's going to throw oranges at us. We're just going to want to stand in place as he throws the orange. I do want to show this bit of dialogue, though, because it cracks me up. You're Conga, good shot. He's all like self-congratulatory. I think it's pretty funny. Okay, make sure you're right on it as he throws it, and there you go. There's 1 Jiggy down, and I like how that popped right into me, too. That was kind of funny. So there we go. There's our first one. For our second one, we're going to want to then climb up his tree. Oh, when you're ready to... Yeah, okay, I got it. You don't need to talk to me. Thank you. I know how this works. I appreciate it, though. We're going to want to climb up here and grab that. That is an orange, and also try not to... I should have pressed Z there to just drop instead of jump into him. We're going to want to take this orange over here and give it to the monkey. And I also love how I love how absolutely everything in this game is personified and, like, anthropomorphized. Even the orange that we use for a grand total of 5 seconds has a voice and, like, calls itself something. It's really silly. Here we go. That's 2 down, and we're going to get a 3rd here in a second. But first things first, we need to talk to Bottles before we can do that, so let's hop up here. Oh, I don't like how the camera shifts around right there. Look, even the eggs are personified. All right, Bottles, let's talk. Time for the buzzard to learn the ancient way of the egg. I'm listening, Beetle Breath. Hold Z, then press the top C button to shoot an egg out of your mouth. Hey, that sounds cool. Anything else? Sure, press the bottom C button instead, and you can shoot them out from behind. Sheesh, sounds painful. I wish I'd never asked. Bird Brain can carry 100 eggs in her backpack. Oh, and you can also use the control stick to aim while you are crouching. Exciting, huh? Now that you've learned to use the eggs, here's 50 to practice with. And you're going to want to make sure, you definitely want to get those 50 because, holy crap, eggs are actually pretty hard to stay topped up on in this game. Okay, so now that we have the eggs, we're going to want to walk up here, and we're going to want to shoot one at Conga. And after we do that, he is going to throw an orange at us here in a second. So I'm going to, oh, I tried to dodge that, but I apparently didn't do a very good job there. I'm going to shoot another one, although that didn't register very quickly. Let's try that again. Come on, hit him again. Oh, it's because it's hitting his arms. You need to hit him in the chest. There we go. Oh, then he does it again. Oh, he got me with the second one. I forgot that it can still get you with the residual. Okay, let's fire a few of those, and if one hits him in the chest, we're good. 3 hits. Bear beat Conga. Me give prize to bear. And there we go. That's 3 Jiggies. We'll go collect that one. Well, actually, you know what? I'll just go get that now because I want to come back to this area here in a minute after I go get something else. So there we go. And now he's going to go back to throwing oranges at us, so do keep that in mind. As long as you're in like the yellow area, that's how you know he's going to go after you. All right. One thing that I really like about the control scheme of this game, and this is true in 2E too, but whenever you're not in an area with a fixed camera, if you hold R, the camera will always be centered behind Banjo, which, especially for this era of 3D games, this is like needed in every game. There are way too many Nintendo 64 games that didn't do this. Like, this is such a lifesaver. Not saying I'm going to hold it like the whole time I play, but I feel like so many games would have been better had they not lacked that feature. Anyway, Jiggy just sitting out here in the open, so let's grab that. Beautiful. Okay, and I know there's a Jinjo here, but to get to that thing, we're going to need to talk to Bottles again. Because that little slope right there leading up to the top of the ruins, we cannot get up that without getting this ability, which is Talon Trot. This one we do by holding Z and then pressing left C, and this is pretty much the most iconic move in the entire franchise. I mean, everybody's seen people play this way because generally people walk around the game this way more often than they do with just Banjo himself. It's faster, it's more precise, it's just a much easier way to get around, and it also ignores a lot of terrain because Kazooie can get up slopes a lot easier than Banjo. So there we go, we got that. Jinjo right there. We're also going to want to go back here and grab ourselves a Mumbo token. And now we can start actually going down the slopes here, because if we don't have Talon Trot, Banjo will just slide down these hills. You can, if you want to, make a jump to each and every single one of these platforms. It's possible to do that as Banjo without getting the Talon Trot, but it's just not worth your time. This is so much easier to do. So let's grab that now. And there is a second hill on the exact opposite side of the map, towards the beginning, actually, that I am actually going to loop back towards right now after I grab all of these. Oh, I almost said oranges. What the heck? Notes. My goodness. So let's head back on over here. And I also missed a Jinjo in the process as well. So we're going to want to go up this tree here. If I can actually grab it. What the? Get up here. Thank you. And then just jump to that Jinjo. And there we go. Beautiful. Okay. Oh, yeah. And another Mumbo token here as well. So, yeah, we want to make sure that we do not leave this level until all of these are grabbed. And you really do need to, like, poke through every level with a fine-tooth comb. I will say, this is another decision that I think Tui did better, was having the note nests, because they still did 100 notes in each level in that game. But, like, they had less of them that you needed to collect. Because I feel like this game, it's like, well, we need 100 notes. Well, let's put bunches of them in a lot of places. And it's like... Or you could just put a single note. Like, imagine if, like, let's say, for instance, every single one of these platforms, instead of having 3 notes on them, had a single note nest. Now, I know that those note nests were worth 5, but you kind of get my point, right? Would that not just be more efficient? Would that not just make more sense? And honestly, a lot of times in this game, there are many instances and areas where the game does put notes in bunches of 5. And it's like, at that point, it's like, I feel like the note nests just made more sense, because it's like, it's still occupying the same amount of space that you need to put notes in places where players need to go collect them, but also it's not cluttering with as much stuff, which I don't know. I like that better. Anyway, we got one more Bottles Molehill here, so let's go and talk to him, and he's going to give us our last ability, which is going to allow us to then basically loop back around the area. So this is the Ground Pound, also known as the Beak Buster, and yeah, Kazooie, you'll be fine. Don't worry. Don't worry your beak about this at all. All right, now is my opportunity to talk about the lengths of these episodes as we go through this Let's Play. So generally, when I upload a Let's Play that goes up only once a week, I try to make every single episode close to 30 to even 45 minutes if I can help it. Why did I do that? Generally, though, just because of the pacing of this game, I'm going to be shooting more for the, like, 25 to 30 minute mark, if that makes sense. Usually under 30 minutes, just because this game is, like, it's not super long, so I do want to give, like, each episode time to marinate, but I also don't want to cheat you guys out of short episodes or anything either, or out of long episodes, I suppose. So I want to try to find a happy medium, but I mean, if I was uploading this twice a week, you guys would only be getting like 15-minute episodes. So I feel like 30 minutes is, I feel like it's apt. So there we go, extra life, and now we're going to want to hit this last one. And yes, I know that there's a Jiggy up there in Mumbo's eye. Don't worry, we'll get that in a second. This is another complaint, is this little cutscene every time we grab a Jiggy. Like, it's cute at first, but, I mean, and don't get me wrong, Jiggies are going to be more spread out in future levels, so we're not going to be getting them this frequently, because this is just a tutorial level. This is not how most of the levels work. There's a lot more going on in each of them that you're not going to be grabbing Jigsaws that often, but it still is kind of annoying that you're, oh, come on. There, you have to kind of like shoot it a little early at these guys, so that was not a good shot. I tried to overcompensate there. There we go. And then this one, oh, that was a little early again. Oh, what the heck? There we go. Okay, before I get rid of that guy, we're going to want to jump up on top of him so we can grab this empty honeycomb piece here. Make sure you don't miss that, because otherwise you're going to have to leave the level to reset the totem guys so you can get that. There we go. That was pretty sloppy timing on my part, but I did eventually get it. There. Okay, so let's continue. I'm actually going to head back down the hill here. Actually, I shouldn't go this way. I should go over here instead, because there's a collectible we can get on the way down. And that is, if you go right to where the fence meets and at sort of an angle, just go kind of down straight this way, and there you go. That is both of the empty honeycombs in this level done. Now we're going to head back towards where Conga is at, and we're going to go up a set of platforms that I skipped before because I didn't really feel a need to go up them just yet. So we're going to want to jump all the way up there. Okay, I got to be on the edge when I do this. There we go. Okay. Oh, camera, why do you... That like, makes me nauseous, how the camera flips right there. But we got it, we got it. Now we're running on all the way up to the switch, and you want to make sure you have the ground pound before you do this, because that's the only way you can actually hit this thing. And that's going to make a Jiggy outside. Now, this is where I talk about the number of Jiggies and where you get them. So I said before, there's 100 Jiggies in this game. There's only 9 worlds, however, so you're probably wondering, how do you get the other 10 Jiggies? Well, those are, of course, in Grunty's lair, and that is the second of 10 that we're going to get in the lair. So we're going to need to go out and get that somehow. But that little hill that it's on top of, we actually can't climb that with the Talon Trot. And in fact, I'm about to demonstrate exactly how that works here in a second. So I love this guy. He's like, no bears allowed. He calls you ugly. We're just going to kill him, though. Gores him. Takes his eye out. There's a Mumbo token in here, so we need to make sure we come and get this. But if we try to go to the next platform, we just slide right off. Yeah, even Talon Trot, which is supposed to be this all-terrain method of getting around, cannot go up certain slopes in this game. So to do that, we're going to need an alternative method. Now let's head on in here to Mumbo's hut. And there are some I keep not calling notes by what they're supposed to be called by. Me, Mumbo, best shaman in all game, can help Banjo and Filthy Feathered One. Watch it, Hut Boy. I like how most of Kazooie's insults involve saying where they're from and then calling them boy and or girl. So he said what did he say, Dirt Boy or Hill Boy or something like that to Bottles, and now it's Hut Boy. Like, okay. Is she gonna call Banjo Honey Boy? I don't know. But we're gonna transform here, and we're gonna turn into a termite. Mumbo's magic free to change back. You come when ready. So termite, bit small, but not, well, okay. Basically what he's going to say is that this thing is small and it can actually go up really, really steep slopes. This is how we're going to get up that slope that we slid down before. The problem with the termite, though, is that it can't actually defend itself. It has no method of attack, so you're just going to want to make sure that you avoid every single enemy that you come across whenever you run into any with this thing. Not that that's really hard to do, because there's not a lot of enemies in this level to begin with. All right, let's just make our way across here. So there's a few stages of this termite hill we need to get up. Sir, can you not camp my notes, please? Please? There we go. Okay, got all 100. Perfect. All right, so now we are free to leave this level at our own discretion, which we will soon enough, but I need to make my way all the way to the top of this thing because, spoiler alert, but there, yes, is a jigsaw piece up here. Also, I love how everybody's like, where'd you get those shorts in that backpack, bro? I want it. But no, you can't have it. It is my shorts and backpack. Also, it'd be very awkward if I gave someone my shorts and then transformed back into Banjo. That would not be ideal. But there we go. That is 10 Jiggies, and I think that is all of them, because the way that the game... Yes, okay, that is everything in this level. The way the game shows the totals is, well, when you deposit the jigsaw pieces into the puzzle to open up a new world, you literally lose those Jiggies, which is, not, again, something very different from how Tui handles it, where they just have a full total. So we're going to actually leave the world, and Mumbo said something about his magic dying down if you ever try to leave. But we are going to head on out anyway. And I'll say Grunty's magic stops you taking the notes off the world, but the 100 you just collected counts as your best note score. Try to get 100 on each world. So if we go back in, the notes will have respawned, but you cannot collect them again to, like, add to your total. That's not how it works. So we're going to make our way up here, and now we can climb to the top and grab ourselves that jigsaw piece. So there we go. What is he saying? Will you guys quit trying to envy and go after my shorts? Get away from me. So, as we try to leave the area, this is when Mumbo will say that the magic gets weak, animal turn back, or magic go away. Go a few more steps, and there we go. And that is the end of Mumbo's Mountain, and that is also going to be the end of this first episode of Let's Play Banjo-Kazooie. Guys, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode very much. In the next episode, we're going to head off to the second world, and do not get used to me completing each world in a single episode. That ain't going to happen anymore. That's just the one time. Like I said, that's a tutorial level. They're all going to get a lot bigger, beefier, and more exciting from here. So thank you all so very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.